This is wild HOA situations. I did not raise my voice, I raised my evidence packet. Welcome in. Settle in for this one, because it gets absolutely wild. She is already yelling when I open the door. If you have not cleaned those steps in the approved manner, you are creating liability for the association. And that light is an unapproved exterior modification. I am giving you 48 hours to remove it, or you will be fined. My name is Alex, and I moved to Albany, New York 2 years ago for a warehouse inventory controller job that pays well, but keeps me on my feet tracking every item and timestamp. The neighborhood is called Maple and Meltwater Estates Association, and it is one of those places where gray areas equal HOA power grabs. I bought the townhouse because the price was right, and I was saving for a down payment on a bigger place someday. The HOA seemed normal at first, but last winter I noticed the enforcement got nasty whenever snow hit. This year, the compliance officer is a woman named Brenda Jones, and she carries a plastic ice chopper tool like a badge of authority. She showed up this morning because I installed a motion light over my front steps after my visiting nurse aunt slipped on ice last week. The light cost $40 and I mounted it myself. Brenda is calling it a violation. I take a breath and keep my voice calm. It is a safety light. The steps get icy and my driveway is the only safe place for a visiting nurse to park. I need access clear, and I need the steps visible at night. Brenda snaps open a measuring tape aggressively and points it at the fixture. If you make me repeat myself, it gets more expensive. The board will back me because they are afraid of me. That motion light is not in the approved color palette, and you did not submit an exterior modification request. You have 48 hours. I feel my jaw tighten. I am holding a thermos mug that is steaming in the cold, and I realize I am gripping it hard enough to hurt my hand. I let her think I am cornered, because my trump card needs her to overreach. 2 days later, I come outside and there is a bright orange warning tag on my windshield. The tag has no readable text, but I recognize the HOA logo printed on it. I peel it off and walk to the mailbox cluster to check my mail. Inside is a certified letter from the management company. The letter is thick and I open it right there in the cold. It is demanding $300 in fines for the unapproved light, another $200 for creating a snow liability hazard, and a $100 administrative fee. The letter pretends the snow policy is law and warns that failure to comply will result in a lien. I read it twice, then fold it and put it in my pocket. I had been tracking every interaction with the HOA since I moved in, and this letter just gave me something concrete. That afternoon, I call the management company and ask for a copy of the snow emergency policy. The woman on the phone sounds confused. We do not have a separate snow emergency document. The rules are in the covenants. I ask her to send me the section that covers exterior modifications and snow removal. She agrees and I hang up. I am building a file because I know how this works. Brenda is going to escalate, and I need proof that she is making things up as she goes. The covenants arrive 3 days later, and I spend an entire evening going through them. The exterior modification section says homeowners must submit requests for changes visible from the street, but it lists examples like paint color, fencing, and major landscaping. It does not mention lights at all. The snow removal section says homeowners are responsible for clearing their own walks and driveways within 24 hours of a storm, but it does not give the HOA authority to fine anyone for how they do it. I highlight both sections and make notes. Then I find something else. There is a map in the back of the covenant packet showing which lots are subject to certain rules. My lot is shaded differently from the others. I cross-reference it with the text and realize the previous owner had a variance granted for drainage work, and part of that variance exempts my front steps from the standard walkway material requirements. If the steps are exempt from material rules, The HOA has no standing to dictate my lighting either. I make a copy of the map and add it to my file. The next morning, I get a text from my neighbor across the street. Her name is Paula, and she used to work for the management company before she quit last year. The text says, Brenda just tried to get into the amenity center with her own key, and the gate system would not let her in. She is furious. Call me. I call Paula immediately, and she tells me Brenda has been locking people out of the pool and gym as punishment when they question her enforcement decisions. The gate system is controlled by the management company, but Brenda has been calling them and demanding they revoke access for specific homeowners. Paula says the management company has been going along with it because they are afraid Brenda will complain to the board. I ask Paula if she still has contacts at the management company, and she says yes. I tell her I need a favor. 2 days later, Brenda shows up at my door again. This time she has a new letter in her hand. She does not wait for me to speak. You are banned from using the amenities until you pay your fines and remove that light. If you make me repeat myself, it gets more expensive. I pull out my phone and start recording. I am calm, but my heart is pounding. I would like to see the section of the covenants that gives you the authority to ban me from amenities I pay for in my HOA fees. Brenda steps closer, and I can see frost breath coming from her mouth. The board does not need to justify enforcement actions to you. You signed the covenants when you bought this place. I nod slowly. I did. And I read them. My lot has a variance exemption. The map in the back of the covenant packet shows my steps are not subject to the same material rules as other units. That means you have no standing to fine me for the light. Brenda's face turns red. She snaps the ice chopper tool against her palm. That variance is for drainage, not lights. I smile and keep the phone steady. Then I will need you to put that interpretation in writing so I can send it to an attorney. She stares at me for a long moment, then turns and walks away without another word. I stop recording and text the video to Paula. She replies within minutes. I just talked to my friend at the management company. Brenda has been adding unapproved legal fees to homeowner accounts and telling the company it is board authorized. They have been processing them without checking. I feel a spike of anger. That is fraud. Paula sends another text. I know. My friend is scared because if it comes out, the management company could lose the contract. I think about my savings and the timeline I have been working toward. I cannot afford to let Brenda drain me with fake fees. I text Paula back. Can your friend get me an invoice trail? Paula replies, yes, but she wants to meet in person. She is afraid of being recorded. We meet in a grocery store parking lot during a snowstorm. Paula's friend is named Lisa, and she looks nervous. She hands me a folder and keeps glancing around. These are the invoice records for the last 6 months. Brenda has been calling the management company and saying the board authorized legal consults, then billing individual homeowners without sending them the actual invoices. The company processes the charges and adds them to HOA accounts as miscellaneous fees. I flip through the folder and see my name on 3 separate invoices. The dates match up with times I questioned Brenda's enforcement. I ask Lisa if she has proof the board did not authorize the fees. She nods. I pulled the board meeting minutes. There is no mention of legal consults for any of these dates. I thank her and she leaves quickly. I sit in my car with the heat running and go through every page. This is exactly what I need, but I have to be careful how I use it. If I confront Brenda directly, she will just deny it. I need to make the management company confirm the record on camera. That night, I get another letter. This one is not certified. It is taped to my door. The letter says the HOA is going to salt my front steps tomorrow morning as part of a safety inspection. And if I interfere, I will be fined for obstructing HOA maintenance. I read it twice and feel my stomach drop. This is the side complication I did not see coming. If they salt my steps without permission, Brenda can claim I did it wrong and fine me for that too. I text Paula and ask if this is legal. She replies immediately, "No. They cannot enter your property without notice and consent unless it is an emergency." I take a photo of the letter and add it to my file. The next morning, Brenda shows up with a bag of salt and a contractor I do not recognize. I step outside before they reach my steps. "You are not salting my property." Brenda drops the bag on the ground. "This is an HOA safety inspection. If you interfere, you will be fined $500. I pull out my phone and start recording again. "I did not consent to this and you did not give me proper notice." The contractor looks uncomfortable and steps back. Brenda picks up the plastic ice chopper tool and waves it at me. The board will back me because they are afraid of me. I keep the phone steady. "You said that before. I am going to make sure the board hears it." Brenda stares at me, then tells the contractor to leave. He does not argue. She follows him to the truck and I watch them drive away. I stop recording and send the video to Paula. She replies, "You need to file a formal complaint with the management company." I am already drafting the email. That afternoon, I get a call from the management company. The voice on the other end is polite but strained. "Mr. Alex, we received your email regarding unauthorized entry attempts. We want to assure you that the HOA does not have authority to enter your property without consent except in emergencies." I ask if Brenda was acting on board authorization. There is a long pause. We are reviewing that now. I thank them and hang up. I know they are stalling, but the fact that they called means they are worried. The next weekend, I am shoveling the mailbox cluster pathway when Brenda appears. She is holding a printed packet of photos, and she waves it at me. "You created an illegal snow berm on common property. That is a violation of the drainage easement." I look at the berm she is pointing at. It is a small pile of snow I pushed to the side of my driveway after the last storm. Every other unit has a similar pile. I lean on my shovel and keep my voice even. "Everyone has a berm. Why are you targeting mine?" Brenda steps closer and I can see neighbors stopping to watch. "Because yours is blocking the drainage path." I glance at the packet in her hand. "Can I see those photos?" She pulls it back. "No, this is HOA documentation." I smile. "Then you will not mind if I take my own photos for comparison." I pull out my phone and start taking pictures of the other driveways. Brenda tries to block me. "You are harassing homeowners." I keep shooting. "I am documenting common property. You just said my berm is a violation. I need to show it is identical to everyone else's." One of the neighbors, an older man named Carl, walks over. He is holding his own shovel. "She tried to fine me last month for the same thing. I ignored her and she dropped it." Brenda whirls on him. "If you make me repeat myself, it gets more expensive." Carl laughs. "You do not scare me, Brenda. Half the board wants you gone." If you are enjoying this chaos, hit the like button and subscribe because HOA drama is my specialty and I have plenty more stories. 2 days later, I come home from work and find a tow truck backing up to my car. I park on the street and run over. What is going on? The driver, a young guy in a heavy coat, looks at his tablet. I got a call from the HOA management company. They said this vehicle is parked in violation of snow emergency rules. I pull out my phone and show him my registration and insurance. This is my car, and I live here. The driver frowns. "Let me call dispatch." He dials and puts it on speaker. The dispatcher answers and the driver explains the situation. Before the dispatcher can respond, Brenda appears from behind the tow truck. That vehicle has been parked in a fire lane for 3 days. Tow it now. The driver looks at me. Is that true? I shake my head. I park on the street in front of my unit. There is no fire lane here. Brenda steps closer to the phone. I am the compliance officer for this association and I am authorizing this tow. The dispatcher cuts in. Ma'am, we need written authorization from the management company, not verbal. Brenda's voice gets louder. I am giving you written authorization right now. The dispatcher sounds annoyed. We do not have anything on file. I am going to need you to call the office and clear this before we proceed. Brenda tries to talk over her. If you make me repeat myself, it gets more expensive. The driver ends the call and looks at Brenda. I am not towing anything without proper paperwork. Brenda's face turns bright red. She snaps the ice chopper tool against the tow hook chain. You just lost a contract. The driver shrugs, unhooks my car, and drives away. I am still recording and I catch the entire exchange. That night, I email the video to the management company with a formal complaint. I include the invoice records Lisa gave me and I ask for a full accounting of every fee on my account. I also request a meeting with the board to discuss Brenda's conduct. The reply comes the next morning. The management company agrees to schedule a meeting, but they say it will take 2 weeks because the board only meets once a month. I know that is a stall, but I also know I have them on the defensive now. I do not wait 2 weeks. The next day, I drive to the management company office and walk into the lobby with my folder of evidence. The receptionist looks up. Can I help you? I set the folder on the desk. I need to speak to whoever is in charge of the Maple and Meltwater Estates account. She hesitates. Do you have an appointment? I keep my voice calm but firm. No. But I have documented evidence of fraudulent billing and I would like to resolve it before I file a formal complaint with the state. Her eyes widen. Let me get the account manager. She disappears into a back office and returns a minute later with a man in a suit. He introduces himself as Greg and invites me into a conference room. I hand him the folder and explain everything. The unapproved legal fees, the lockout attempts, the tow truck incident, the unauthorized salt application. Greg listens without interrupting, then opens the folder and starts going through the invoices. After a few minutes, he looks up. These fees were processed as board authorized. I nod. But the board meeting minutes show no authorization. Greg closes the folder. I am going to need to verify this with the board president. I pull out my phone and show him the video of Brenda trying to override the tow truck dispatcher. He watches it twice, then sets the phone down. I will have an answer for you by the end of the day. I am walking out of the building when I see Brenda in the parking lot. She is getting out of her car and she freezes when she sees me. I do not say anything. I just keep walking. She follows me to my car. What did you just do? I unlock my door. I filed a records request. Brenda's voice gets shrill. You are harassing the management company. I get in my car and close the door. Through the window, I can see her holding the plastic ice chopper tool and staring at me. I drive away. That afternoon, I get an email from Greg. The subject line says account review complete. I open it in my car and read it twice to make sure I am not misunderstanding. The email confirms that 3 legal consult fees totaling $600 were added to my account without board authorization. The management company is reversing the charges and issuing a refund check. The email also says Brenda has been removed from her compliance officer role pending an internal review, and the board has been notified of the billing discrepancies. I feel a rush of relief so strong I have to sit back and breathe. This is not over yet, but it is the first time I have felt like I am winning. The next day, Paula texts me. The board is meeting tonight. Emergency session. Brenda is trying to get them to override the management company. I ask Paula if she is going. She says yes, and she is bringing Carl and 2 other neighbors who have been fined under similar circumstances. I decide to go too. The meeting is held in the community center and the room is packed. Brenda is already there, sitting at the front table with the board president and 2 other board members. When I walk in, she glares at me but does not say anything. The board president, a tired-looking man named Ron, calls the meeting to order. He starts by reading a statement from the management company about the billing review. Before he finishes, Brenda interrupts. This is a targeted attack by a homeowner who refuses to follow the rules. Ron holds up a hand. Brenda, let me finish. She sits back, but I can see her jaw clenched. Ron continues. The management company has identified multiple procedural violations in how fines and fees were assessed over the last 6 months. We are suspending all enforcement actions until we complete a full audit. Brenda stands up. You are letting one troublemaker destroy the authority of this board. If you make me repeat myself, it gets more expensive. The room goes silent. Ron looks at her. Brenda, that is not appropriate. She does not sit down. The board will back me because they are afraid of me. I pull out my phone and hold it up. I have that on video too. From the day you tried to salt my steps without permission. Brenda turns to look at me, and her face is bright red. You recorded me without consent. I keep my voice steady. New York is a one-party consent state. I was part of the conversation. It is legal. Carl stands up from the audience. She said the same thing to me last month, and to at least 3 other people I know. Ron looks shaken. Brenda, I think you need to step outside while we discuss this. Brenda does not move. I am not going anywhere. This board needs me. Ron's voice gets firmer. Brenda, please step outside. She grabs the plastic ice chopper tool and storms out. The room stays quiet for a moment, then Ron continues. We are going to take a short recess and reconvene in 15 minutes. During the recess, I step outside to get some air. Brenda is in the parking lot on her phone. She is yelling at someone, and I hear her say, "If you do not fix this tonight, I will make sure you never work in this county again." I do not know who she is talking to, but I record the audio just in case. A few minutes later, a police car pulls into the lot. I walk over, and the officer gets out. He asks if I called about a harassment complaint. I shake my head. I did not call, but I do have documentation of ongoing harassment by an HOA board member. I pull out my phone and show him the video of the tow truck incident. He watches it, then asks for my information. I give him my name and address, and he writes it down. He says he will file an incident report and I should follow up with a formal complaint if the harassment continues. I thank him and he leaves. Brenda is still in the parking lot and she saw the whole thing. She walks over. You just made a huge mistake. I do not respond. I go back inside. The board reconvenes and Ron reads a prepared statement. After reviewing the evidence and consulting with our attorney, the board has decided to terminate Brenda Jones from her role as compliance officer effective immediately. We are also directing the management company to conduct a full audit of all enforcement actions taken in the last year. Any fines or fees found to be improperly assessed will be reversed and refunded. Brenda stands up again. You do not have the authority to do this. Ron does not look at her. The board vote was unanimous. You will receive a formal written notice tomorrow. Brenda grabs her things and walks out. The door slams behind her and the room is silent for a moment. Then Ron continues. We are also implementing new procedures to ensure all enforcement actions are reviewed and approved by the full board before any fees are assessed. This should prevent similar issues in the future. I feel a weight lift off my chest. This is what I was hoping for, but I did not think it would happen this fast. After the meeting, Paula and Carl come over to talk. Paula is smiling. You did it. I shake my head. We did it. Carl got the neighbors together. You got me the invoice records. I just had the right documentation at the right time. Carl claps me on the shoulder. Brenda has been bullying people for 2 years. It feels good to see her finally get consequences. The next week, I get a check in the mail from the management company for $600. The letter with it says the board has formally disciplined Brenda for exceeding her authority, and the management company has implemented new billing controls to prevent unauthorized fees. I also get a written apology from Ron on behalf of the board. It is not much, but it is something. A few days later, Paula texts me again. Brenda just resigned from the board entirely. Apparently, the management company told her they would terminate the HOA contract if she stayed in any leadership role. I feel a mix of relief and satisfaction. I text back. Good. She should not have that kind of power over people. Paula replies. The board is also reviewing the snow emergency rules. They realized Brenda was making up half of them as she went. I smile. That does not surprise me. The following weekend, I am shoveling my driveway when my neighbor across the street waves me over. His name is Tom, and he rarely talks to anyone. He hands me a printout. I thought you should see this. It is an email chain between Brenda and the previous management company account rep. The emails show Brenda requesting gate system lockouts for specific homeowners and the rep complying without checking with the board. Tom explains. I filed a public records request after the meeting. This came back yesterday. I asked the board president if he knew about it and he said no. I take the printout and add it to my file. This is exactly the kind of thing that should have been caught earlier. Tom nods. Brenda has been doing this for years. You are the first person who actually fought back and won. That night, I sit down and write a formal letter to the board requesting a full review of all compliance policies and recommending term limits for board positions. I also suggest the board hire an independent management company to audit the current systems and make sure there are no other hidden issues. I do not know if they will take my suggestions, but I feel like I owe it to the other homeowners to at least try. A month later, the board sends out a newsletter announcing new enforcement policies. All fines must be approved by a majority vote of the board. All exterior modification requests will be reviewed within 30 days, and homeowners will receive written explanations for any denials. The newsletter also announces that the board has hired a new management company to take over starting next quarter. I read it twice and feel a sense of closure. This is not a perfect ending, but it is a fair one. I run into Paula at the mailbox cluster a few days later. She is smiling. Did you see the newsletter? I nod. It is a good start. Paula hands me an envelope. This is from the new management company. They want to interview homeowners about their experiences with the old system. I think you should participate. I take the envelope and thank her. I will. The motion light is still on my front steps. No one has said anything about it since Brenda left. My visiting nurse aunt comes by every week and the steps are always clear and well lit. That is all I wanted in the first place. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.